to another episode of Dreamer Talks. I'm Trevon Gross, your host. Sitting with me is a good friend of mine, Elijah Cain, who, by every sense of the word, is a dreamer. Very much accomplished professional basketball player, and he just started a very nice clothing brand, but I'll let him tell you all about that. Me and E go way back to high school, and had an awesome career at DePaul, top 10 in points, rebounds, and threes, and he has a really good story, so I look forward to hearing about it. E, my man,
it's a pleasure, bro.
Great to see you, man.
Pleasure.
It's an honor. It's an honor, actually, I would say. But so tell me, about your career at DePaul. Like, how did that come about? Because I remember there were other players in the mix before DePaul came up.
Yeah.
Explain to me that whole process.
So really, bro, I didn't really start getting recruited till like my sophomore year. We played St. Anne's in my local high school from there. We played St. Anne's. That's when we had College.
Yeah.
It was winning nation, 35-0.
That's crazy.
And I played real well against them. And Kyle's father was in the stands, and Sports U, their manager, whatever was in the stands too. So after the game, they go with my parents, Kyle's dad did, and Brian was Sports U did. And that's really kind of that game kind of put me on the map. And then after that following summer, I ended up going to play with Sports U first, but then I ended up going to play with the players. And then I ended up transferring to Benedict's out, which was a whole part of the same process going on there. St. Benedict's. So my first year at Ben's, you was there with me, So I ended up committing to Delaware my junior year. I bet like towards the end of the junior year.
Yep.
They came in there, Monte Ross, the head coach, like the coaching staff, I just felt at home. Like everything about it, like it was 15 minutes from my actual house. Coaching staff was young, like I could relate. I was just a big fan. I committed there. And they ended up not re-signing Monte the following year, so I decommitted from there. That's really when my stuff picked. I just started picking up like big time. So I ain't gonna say that's where it picked up. I started picking up at Memphis then. Right. Like I really wanted to go to Memphis.
Yeah, I remember that.
Probably we played in the Hardaway tournament.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, Memphis. I kept Delaware and Mick just off the strength for sure. I just committed there.
Yeah.
I had Providence one, and I had Boston. Shetty was going to Boston. Right. Shetty my guy, so I was considering Boston. Ended up decommitting from there. And we played at, we played Bannon and we played Mount Bird at Keene. We played him at Keene. Had a real good, I've never heard of DePaul in my life. Never in my life before. I've never been to Chicago. Played them. They came to the game. And Jim, the AU coach for players, he had a connection with Bill Beard, his son, Lil Bill, played for the players back in the day. So it was a connection there. We ended up talking. And once again, I took the visit. My first time ever going to Chicago, I took the visit. I just felt comfortable. The AD called my mom. Another story. When I committed to DePaul, they had a different coach. Okay. I committed on a Tuesday. We were sitting in the office. I'm not going to say the coach's name. We were sitting in the office. Look at the coach, like, look, we just went through this whole thing. He committed to Delaware, the coach didn't leave, like, just want to make sure you're going to be here. Right. Yeah, I'll be here. Eli is all for his whole career, 4 years. If you stay 4 years, I'll be here his whole career. Right. Committed on Tuesday. Friday, I'm back home now after the visit. Committed, didn't put it out there. Right. Like, it's in the air. Everybody knows it's on Twitter, all that. Right. So, Miles Powell, right-hand man, he calls me. I'm back home now. He calls me at the gym. It's like, bro, your coach just left. I'm like, what you mean? Like, what you talking about? Bro, look, I'm reading it right now. Your coach just left. Yeah. Like, nah, bro, that was Delaware. Like, I know that already. Like, right. I was like, feel me? But this whole span was only like a month. So I'm like, well, nah, I knew that. That was like 2-3 weeks ago. They're like, no. Like, your DePaul coach just left. Hang up the phone, call my dad. I'm like, do you hear this? He's like, yeah. Like, I was just about to call you. Bro, this is Friday. It's 3 days prior. I committed on Tuesday. I was about to decommit. Head coach, their new head coach that they just hired, drove from down wherever he was coming from to my dad's job. Just had to sit down at my dad's job. AD person in our way called my mother.
So that's big time for the AD to get
involved. So I felt like, you feel me? That I'm like, yeah, I'm really wanted here. Like, I already committed because of other stuff, the city, the program, the opportunity, boom, boom. So I ended up staying there, bro. That's really how that happened.
Tell me more. Like, so you go through, going to Delaware. You think that's about to happen? Doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you shift your focus. DePaul gets in the mix. Coach is gone after saying he was staying. What did that teach you? Like, what did that show you?
Honestly, bro, I think that just really, as cliche as it sounds, I think that was just part of my story. And like, I feel like if everything went smooth, like if Delaware didn't fire their coach, if they did resign their coach, that just wouldn't flow in my story. Like it's always been an obstacle in my story. Like even from when I was younger throughout high school, whatever the case may be. So I kind of was immune to it. Obviously, it was like a shock. Like, dang, like you could at least came to me or whatever the case may be. But I mean, it was tough at the time, especially when the Delaware coach left. I really was like, what am I gonna do?
Right, that was your spot.
But I was like hot. I was a hot recruit at that time. So thank God I had other schools that were right there. That was tough for sure.
So you said obstacles. I want to fast forward. So obviously you have an amazing career at DePaul, right? One of your last games at DePaul, break your wrist. Walk me through that process of from the moment you broke your wrist, to rehab. Like, just tell me where your mind's at. Just explain that whole thing to me.
Yeah. It was under the season, bro. We went to the CBI. Like, coach came to it my senior year, like, we're not going to NCAA tournament. We lost at the guard the same round. So really the season with the CBI, they invited the team, like, let's bump, like, let's play. We might as well.
Right.
Play the first game. 30 seconds left. I had a 3. We go up 2. We go up 1. Next play, they come down with a bucket. It's fun, whatever. It's basketball.
Right.
Game 2, we go back to Chicago because it was serious. Game 1 was in South Florida. Game 2 and 3 were in Chicago. Game 2, we go back to Chicago. And I always tell people that day, like, just something seemed off. And I did stuff that I never usually do. Like, my pregame routine was just different for some reason. I wore 3/4 leggings. Never in my life wore
that's not your best.
Never in my life wore 3/4 leggings. Like, if you go watch the film, I got on 3. I'm like, I don't know what made me put that on. Like,
right.
Just everything was just different that day. And it was probably about 12 minutes. I don't even know that. Probably the 12-minute mark. Right before the under 12. And somebody swung to me in the corner. And it was a big that closed out, pump fake, went baseline. And it was their center, 7-foot dude. And I just kind of like tried to put the shoulder into him. And I lost my balance somehow. This leg went in the air and I landed. Tried to brace my fall like this.
Right.
Boom. Like I hit the ground. Like, fall. Like I hit the ground hard. But like I knew when I fell, like, bro, like something's off.
Yeah. So
I heard the crowd like, ooh. But I can hear my teammates like just continue the game. Like he just fell, he about to get up.
Right.
So Max, one of my teammates, Max come over to me. He puts his hand out like to pick me up. So I put my hand up.
Right.
And he looks down at this wrist and like yanks his hand back like, yo. Because my arm was like deformed. So he's like, yo. So then that's when I knew. So I looked down like, and that's when it hit me like, whoa, like something, like my wrist is clearly. So other people start coming over there. And out of the corner of my eye, I see one of my other teammates like this. Right. So I'm like, all right, something serious.
Yeah.
Our trainer, Mike come run out off the bench. And Mike, like, real cool, kind of collected. So he not going to, like, show me.
Right. Yeah.
So he puts a towel over my arm so I don't look at it. He puts a towel over my wrist so I don't look at it.
It's a good trainer.
So, for sure. He put a towel over me so I don't look at it. But, like, it just seemed like everything is so fast, bro. And I'm on the ground. And their trainer came out. He said something to me like, he said, just breathe at first. And then he said, something like, God is with you. God is with you. Or something like that. And I heard it. He said it twice. I heard it the second time. And I looked up. I said, say that again for me. He said it. He kept saying, he said, God is with you. God is with you. That kind of like relieved me in that as much as it could in that moment. Yeah. And like, that game was because my dad came up, like he could have came to the first game. He could have came to the third. He just happened to be at that game.
Right.
went down. Now I can see my dad, like, he got out the crowd. He, like, basically standing on the court.
Yeah.
I can see him out the corner of my eye, the trainer here, my trainer here, like, everybody just around me. And the gym is mute.
Yeah.
Like, mute. Because it was an on-campus game. It wasn't even so it's even more, like, packed students, and it's, like, mute. And I just remember laying there, bro. And the guy came and said, the stretcher's on its way. I was like, nah, I'm not going up on the stretcher. Like, I can't go like that. He was like, I said, no, I'm not getting on the stretcher. So I told him, like, I'll get up. Like, let me just get up and walk off on my own. And, like, if you get up, you're probably going to fall. So they brought the wheelchair out. And, like, it was really like a movie, bro. Like, I'm looking at my dad. I'm looking in the face of my teammates, and they, like, because I'm like, bro, I'm a leader, bro. I was a leader on the team before. Yeah, you feel me?
Right, your main guy.
Like, so I'm looking on their faces, bro, and I don't really know how to react. I'm like, because usually in that moment as a leader, you got to hold it down. Like, you got to be the one that seems unfazed. Mm-hmm. So that I just remember going off on the wheelchair, bro. And I'm watching the game. Like, they ended up continuing the game after like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm like, in the corner, nobody knows I'm still in the gym. I'm in a wheelchair waiting for the ambulance to come. But I can't see the game. I can just hear it, bro, and everything was just going through my mind at that time, bro. It was like, people trying to calm me down. Like, I ain't really trying to hear nobody talk to me right now. It's like.
So would you say your emotion during that time was it fear, anger? Was it just the unknown? Like, what?
At that point, I wouldn't even say I was thinking about the future or, like, the unknown. I was just thinking about, like what's wrong? Like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, this really just happened. Yeah. Like, this really just happened. Like, I went 118 games straight, starting every game. Mm-hmm. 118, no injuries, and I broke my wrist, second to last game ever in my career. Right. So I'm just like, in my mental, I'm like, this got to work out. I don't know what to say, bro. Right. Like, so I'm just going with the flow at that point, really.
Jeez. So fast forward, you get the final diagnostic. So you broke your wrist.
So we go to the hospital. I'm in an ambulance to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Before I get in the hospital, I tell the AD, she right next to me, I'm like, just let me, because it was probably about 6 minutes left at that time in the second half. Okay. I'm like, just let me stay so I can see the team when they go into the locker room at halftime. Just let me stay. Right. We're trying to wait as long as we could. It was like you need to go to the hospital now. Like, the longer you wait, it's not good. Right. So I'm like, all right, man. So I get in the ambulance. The head coach come out. He said something to me when I'm in the ambulance. I'm strapped up and all that. Mm-hmm. So we get to the hospital. I still got my jersey on. I still got my sneakers. My sneakers still tied. Like, everything, bro. Yeah. So we get to the hospital, and I'm like freezing cold. I'm like, I couldn't stop shaking. And then that's like, once I got to the hospital, that's when the pain, like, settled in. I'm like, bro, this is like killing. Like, I need something. Right. So we go to the back. It's me, my dad, one of the other trainers, and the doctor. We in there, and I'm waiting. I probably wait for it. So it felt like an hour. It probably was like 15 minutes. Yeah. I'm waiting. The doctor finally comes in, looks at it. He was like, "You got to put this back in place." I broke my elbow and my wrist. Every possible bone in my wrist. Yeah. Broke something in my elbow. Comes in, doctor's talking to me. They try to distract me. Yeah. Oh, he hit the first one. It wasn't that bad. Right. This one. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh. I'm screaming through the whole. I'm about to pass. I'm told my dad, I'm about to pass out. Like, right. And then the doctor just like, it's fine if you pass. I'm like, no, bro. I'm not trying to pass out. No, I'm not doing that. Right. So my dad get to waving like this paper, and I like kind of come to senses. Told me what it was, but it grabbed me up. And then the crazy part is, as I'm leaving, as I'm leaving, my teammates is coming in. He did something to his head. I'm like, bro, what is going on here?
Yeah,
like,
what type of day?
So that's how that day was. Bro. I ain't back to the crib 4 in the morning. At that point, like, they had a sling. Like, I just didn't know at that point. Like, I could barely sleep that night.
Golly. So tell me about that rehab process, because obviously that's not a normal injury.
To
break your elbow and every bone,
every bone.
Obviously it's a shock. So what was that rehab process for you? Like, did you have a goal in mind with that rehab process? What helped get you through?
Bro, honestly, that was the hardest thing I ever to do in my life, bro. Like, by far. Like, it was so much ups and downs, like you said, that happened. I was just trying to get through the days, like, mentally before. It got to a point I wasn't worried about the rehab. That was redundant.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get through these days mentally, like, just make sure my mental was fine, really. It was, I can't even put it into words, like, how strenuous that was. And it was just so many different angles and reasons why it was tough. One, I'm looking at it like my basketball career. It's like, okay, I did all this through my 4 years to get where I want to get. To get where every basketball player want to go. I don't even get the chance.
That bothers any athlete. Yeah,
exactly. I don't even get the opportunity to go to some league, to go to the workout, to do that. I don't even have to watch from the side. I didn't go and play bad. I can live with that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I didn't even go. I didn't even get a chance.
Yeah.
I'm watching all these people I didn't play against and kill. All my homies doing what they do. I can't be out there. That's one part of it. Second part of it is answering the questions. I heard the same questions for 7 months. Saying like, what's next? What you gonna do? And then the worst part is the people that you thought was, you start hearing that.
Right.
You start seeing people like act a little, bro, like, because once I start getting able to do stuff, the doctor 4 or 5 months later, bro, you trying to rebound for me? I gotta do it. Right. Rebound for 4 years.
Right. What's the change now? Right.
Yeah, I'm paying people. That was a part of it. The career part. Then this was by far.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, because that can wear on any person. You know, like you said, you've built, obviously, like you're one of the, you're a well-known player in Jersey. Yeah, people know who you are. So obviously, there are people that, obviously, like you said, you ain't know until this injury that was kind of riding your coattails. Yeah. Like, explain to me what that was like to like experience that.
Bro, it was times I didn't want to go outside, bro. Like, literally, and the worst thing I could possibly do was be in the house and just be here, just me versus me. Right. That was the worst thing I could possibly do. I didn't want to see people. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want people to see me. And it was just like this image. Like, I got to a point where, like, I started growing a beard, bro. Like, it was just stuff that I never, like, you feel me?
Yeah, you weren't yourself.
Yeah, and it was, that was by far the hard part. Because every day, bro, it's you versus you. Like, first off, you're not having your usual schedule. You don't have practice, workout, lift. The season's over.
Right.
All your teammates is either gone, the seniors is gone. They're not there no more.
Yeah.
Or the youngest that was on the team, they looking forward to their next season.
Right. They're going home.
So it's there. They home. And I'm in Chicago for the next 8 months, bro. So, and then going to the doctor, every time I go to the doctor, I'm going to be clear. First time I asked this dude, he told me, I got hurt April 3rd, bro. I said, when you going to get hurt? This probably was 2 weeks later. He said, if you were already a professional, you would be out for 12 months. Hearing that, I'm like, bro, I need to start my career. So it's like, I'm supposed to be out a year. Like, I got to sit out a whole year to do this all over again. It was tough, bro. Rehab, like the first 4, like, bro, I couldn't. I'm a ball for 7 months. Bro. I couldn't. Like, it really took me about a year to be able to put the ball down like normal for it to feel normal.
I remember that process.
Yeah,
bro. I remember, we had some conversations during that rehab time for you, and I remember when you posted on Instagram, you being able to do a push-up.
Yeah. And that, bro, but that was like, when I did, that was like the first time, like, a basketball player done. Or like, don't know what else to relate it to, but like when you got your droppers, like that was like a huge thing
yeah,
for me, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was doing push-ups, bro. Like you like it gets to a point where you don't think about how like blessed you are to be able to do this little stuff. Right. And that's why. And the flip side of it, bro, not to like I know you want to talk about the tough time, but that made me grow up so much, bro.
Let's say I want to talk about that. So like in that way in which you grew up, how did you grow up? Like obviously it was a battle of mental, but like how did you grow up?
Like before that happened, the hardest thing I thought I went through with my career, my basketball life, was moving from South Jersey, North Jersey, stay up there, no family, no to new school, better
some train rides.
You know,
train
right next to me. You know, it was right next to me.
Right.
5, 6 in the morning, every morning going to the train, taking the train to the bus, like
running out the bus. Might be late.
That's the hardest thing I thought I had to do. Went through that rehab, and it was like I had to. It really was like I had my family, but they are 2.5 hour plane ride away. I'm out there. I'm not gonna say I'm alone. Yeah, I had some people, right? But I was going through that alone, really. Yeah. And it was to a point where I had it. Like it was either you going to deal with it, or you gonna make it, or you gonna let it kill you. So I was like, I had to go get a 9 to 5 job. I had to do a lot of my basketball stuff by myself. Right. Like I had people, and the people that did stick with me through that, bro. Like I'll do anything in the world for them right now, bro. Like, because I don't think they understand how major that was for me.
Absolutely, and even like you said, just even something as simple as getting a 9 to 5 job in the space that you're in as a college athlete that is a pro,
and then that humbles you. And I think I never was a cocky guy, but I guess God decided I need some humbling, and that for sure humbled me. Like just being at 9 to 5, waking up and having to have that life, and like you just said, going from we play on TV every night, we can cater to how that go. So it's like that was tough, bro. That was tough.
So tell me, so obviously you said you're out in Chicago, you're dealing with all this rehab stuff, you get the 9 to 5 job, you're doing your basketball stuff on your own. What else? Was there anything else that helped you, even if it might not have been a person? Was there music you were listening to, or
for sure
videos on YouTube you watched? Like what books you read? Like what you know what I'm saying? What helped? What else helped you?
Nipsey, bro.
Yeah. Like,
for sure. And the funny part about it was my homie, one of my teammates, just had like put me on. Like I knew Nipsey, but I wasn't really in tune with him. Right. One of my homies put me on like January that year. So when we were out in South Florida, that's all we listen to pregame, and I'm listening. I know everyone. I'm listening to the whole Victory. I'm listening to the whole Crenshaw Sloss and all the old stuff. Yeah. And just the way he was talking, bro, it's like people really say music get you through. And really feel like he was talking to me, bro. And then bro ended up dying.
Yeah, that was a tough day.
Bro ended up dying like through that 3-game series. I think he died April something or around that time, March or whatever the case may be. But it was when we was playing South Florida. It was like that whole process was just, now looking back at it, it's like he got me through that whole rehab process, bro.
Shoot. He's like, this can't even be.
Yeah.
Right in front of his own store.
I remember that. We really didn't even have a pregame routine because that's all we was talking about. Yeah. The whole was like, there's no way somebody from this hood killed him. Yeah. On the whole.
So obviously you said music got you through. So let's fast forward. Getting back on the court, getting your feet back under you and things like that. You started a business. You started Khloe Noelle. Tell me about that. How did that come about? Because it seemed to me like out of nowhere you just posted. Like what? How did that? Where did that idea come from? Where did that inspiration come from?
I think it was a couple things. One, I had a lot of time on my hands, and two, I needed something to take my mind off what I was going through. I needed something. So, like I said, I got the job. I was just on my computer one day, just messing around, drawing up something. And my niece was just born around that time, in June. She probably was about, I don't know, that time. Sound like something I should get into. Just kept messing around. Came out with the first hat. It's looking hard. I'm showing through the years, man. Then I started doing the swimwear. So Khloe Noelle.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, it's feminine name. Might as well go swimwear.
Yeah.
So I was selling a little bit. People messing with it. And it kind of just went from there, bro. But the biggest thing about that was giving me something to, like I said, to take my mind off what I was going through. People don't having a clothing, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I'm doing it like I'm doing it by myself.
Right.
So, but I was looking forward to that like it was a game. And that's how I approached that. That's how I approached the clothing line. So I wanted to make sure everything was straight. I wanted to make sure I knew everything about every little detail. And like I would wake up like motivated to do something about my clothing line instead of thinking, I got to rehab for 2 hours. Right.
Now it's like rehab. Hurry up, get me about rehab. Exactly. Do the exercise. Like I got this something I got to design.
That's how it is. That's right. I took it as if rehab. This is gonna sound bad. I took this as if rehab was class and my clothing line was basketball. I got to get out of class and go to basketball.
Real.
Get me out of this rehab, like, and at that point, I'm doing what I got to do in rehab, but I'm not looking at it as rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting out of it. I'm going right back into the clothing line. But start off as a swimwear, bro, and like I said, it really just grew from there, and that was my major, marketing. So I took a lot of the right courses to know what to do.
That's so interesting because you saying grow, that thing is booming.
Yeah.
You can be humble all you want. That thing is going. Focus know what clothes.
Even to this day, bro, like, we go through stuff daily, like, injured or not. So, like, regular life, we go through stuff that still gives me something to, get my mind off of whatever's going on. Like,
absolutely. It sounds like you kind of were able to, and I identify with this because obviously, my story just after my year at Mamas and just not playing and everything like that. Yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from in terms of getting that 9 to 5, and like now you almost have to like find a new identity. You know what I'm saying? Like you're so used to being a basketball player, and like obviously that's just what it is. We're playing year round, so you're so used to having a hat on. Now it's like, wait, I don't have that right now. Like, I'm still waiting on the opportunity, but like still got life. Like bills is due. Like you know what I'm saying? Like so, it sounds like you really found Eli the man.
I really feel like I found the real me, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, not saying I was fake, bro. I found, like, deep down, and I'm 100 times more comfortable with myself. I mean, I was always comfortable with my skin and for sure good in the environment, but I truly feel like I was able to find myself throughout that whole rehab process, really. And, like, even when I was able to get back on the court, bro, I had some workouts I was working out in Chicago at the time. Bro, I'm in the middle of it. This is probably 8 months into my rehab. Like, the doctor said, you can go play basketball. But I don't think he knew to that extent what I was.
Right, what you was doing.
He probably thought I was
going to YMCA, something like that.
I'm in a whole NBA working, like, a couple times a week.
Right.
Bro, I'm in these workouts. I barely can put the ball in my left hand. So my mind was like, bro, I have to get back on the court. Like, I was just so, like, I can't miss out on no more opportunities. Right. 9 times out of 10, I probably shouldn't have been. Feel me? Mm-hmm. But it's like, how we did, bro. When it comes to the basketball thing, it's like,
no, I gotta be out there.
And I'm really, bro, I'm honestly in these workouts, like, and really, if they pick me up or not, probably depending on these workouts, bro. I can't dribble with my left, mind you, I can't dribble with my left hand in these workouts, bro. So it's like, just imagine that, like, we doing a little 2-ball, and I'm just trying,
you just trying to make it look like.
With the ball coming back up to my knee, barely, because I don't got no power in my elbow.
Right.
So it's like, I went through that. Then I went to the G League training camp with Sixers. Mm-hmm. Really still not, but I'm a little bit more, really still not cleared, bro. I'm there, playing well. I end up playing, at this point, I'm starting to get under my feet a little bit. Yeah. So I'm playing well. The day before the cuts, 1-on-1 drill, roll my ankle. I'm like, God, like, I know, like, I ain't the best person in life, but it's like,
why be like this? Can't be real.
I can't catch a break, bro. Like, I can't catch a break. Roll my ankle. Don't play in the last scrimmage. Don't play in the drill, and they end up waving or whatever. So now, that was probably January, January, February. So I got a new agent in January. So once again, I'm back at the crib, like, what's now? Well, once I finally got back on my feet, something else happened. Okay, that was just God. Like, relax, bro. I wasn't ready, bro, at that time. And looking back at it, both of those opportunities, I'm glad that didn't work out. I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be in the position I am in my career.
Yeah, that's always, it's very interesting whenever, especially as athletes, but even just us as people, where we go through something and we have that reaction like, this can't be real. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, like, I'm a good person. Like, come on, guy, right? But then somehow down the line, like you said, 2020 hindsight, it's like, wow, like, I'm actually glad that didn't work out. Like you said, you weren't ready. And even for you to be able to acknowledge and admit, like, yeah, I know I really was pushing for that, even though I wasn't ready. Yeah. But where you're at now. So let's talk about where you're at now. So you played over in Germany for a little bit, right? And then Corona happened. Whatever. So back here. Yeah. So you just signed a deal. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that. Like you signed this deal. Obviously, we spoke, so I know how. But explain that to me. Like, you signed this deal, leaving soon. Just tell me all those emotions, like, in terms of signing your name, locking that down. Yeah. Everything you've been through, you're here. You're a pro.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a lot of emotion, like leaving the family, but really, I know personally, and my family know how I feel right now. Like, I'm on demon time right now, bro. Like, I haven't been on the court for a full season in 2 years, really. Right. So a year and a half, 2 years, whatever the case may be. So it's like, yeah, it's bad that I gotta leave my family, whatever the case may be. But I'm real excited about it. I'm ready to get right to it. But I mean, I feel like it's just God, bro. And I keep saying God, like, I ain't never really used to talk about God like that, bro. Yeah. But I found people in myself in God, like,
that's important. That's awesome.
Man. Yeah. I mean, man, like, I can't even really say no word, but it's like, it's heavy, bro. Like, It's heavy looking back on it now. It's like, after all that I went through, like, all the stuff that I was mentally going through, and it's like, it's here now. So it's like, yeah.
So you said, I remember, maybe a couple months now, you had tweeted out, you spoke about your battle with mental health and things like that. What prompted you to even do that? Like, tell me about that.
So, when I was going through the rehab process, bro, I was, like I said, like, I was going through a lot of stuff, like, just being in the room a lot, being to myself, thinking a lot, like, what's going to be the outcome? And I want to see nobody. I went through depression, and I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. Turning my phone off, like, all type of stuff. But it was one day I started having heart palpitations. But I've had them in high school before, so it just came back. So I ended up going. It was I didn't go to the doctor initially because it wasn't in.
Right.
So I did some research and I found out about CBD. So I started taking CBD gummies, which were common, but it was still happening. It was calming down for the time being, but it was still happening. So it was one day in the weight room. I'm lifting one of my coaches, one of the assistant coaches. Lifting, I'm telling him about it. I've been having this heart palpitation. I can't really catch my breath when I'm explaining to him. As I'm explaining to him, I start getting it. I'm like, I stop talking about what's happening right now. So I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm like, yeah, I can't. The coach just got me. I'm like, hey, I can't catch my breath right now. I mean, you gotta go get somebody with the trainer. So one of the managers come in, and I'm like, no, can you run in my room and get these CBD gummies and I calm down? So he runs to get them, comes back from my room, and gets me one. And I try to take it, bro. But I couldn't. I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't even breathe enough to swallow it. Right. Yeah. You feel me? So I had to take the gummy out of my mouth. I can't even eat it. So they get in there. It's 3 or 4. They trying. I'm shaking. I'm starting to get cold. I don't know if you have anxiety attack. I know that. So and it really feel like a heart attack. So I'm having I'm shaking. I don't know what to do. So Kevin, I'm taking me to the hospital. Every heart test possible. And I've already had all these heart tests in high school, because I've had the heart palpitation before, and everything checked out fine. So I was having those episodes prior for about it, but I've never had anxiety before. So that's why I didn't know what it was. So I was having those social probably a month or two until this happened. That day I went, the test. And at that time, I was doing some research, like those couple of days prior to that accident. I'm like, damn, it might be anxiety, but I've never had it, so I wasn't really sure. I've had talks. I wanted to go see people. I'm talking to doctors. They're like, yeah, it sounds like anxiety to me. I don't have anxiety, bro. There's nothing wrong with it, bro. So that doctor said the same thing. I'm like, man, so maybe I really do. So that day, went back. I told my family what happened. Everything checked out. And at that time, I was still in Chicago. Fast forward a couple months later, I was having them on and off, but I was able to control them a little bit more. So I had a real bad one when I was home in Jersey one time. And I told my brother while I was having it, I was like, bro, I honestly don't know what's wrong with me. And I broke down, crying. Bro, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I keep having this. And later, after I eventually calmed down, something just hit me, bro. I gotta come out and tell people, I gotta let this out of me. Because it was just my family knew that whoever was at that time, whoever was there when I had it at school. It's I have to because I know I'm not the only one going through this. I have to come out and talk about it. So I made those series of tweets, bro. The biggest thing for me was the feedback I got. It was so many people that one I never knew. I never would look at that type of person. It's my teammate that I've been playing with 4 years. Bro, I've always been the same thing. It's people I've never met before in my life. It's people from different countries DMing me, I'm so glad you came out. I feel more comfortable being able to, talk about my problems. Yeah. And ever since then, bro, I feel like that was a shift in my life where I was able to accept the stuff I go through, the anxiety or whatever the case may be, and being able to talk on it. And I think the biggest thing is really accepting that it's accepting for what it is. And when you're having an anxiety attack, if you know what it is, okay, I'm having anxiety, that helps. So I think that was the biggest thing, just having those conversations. And I'm going back and forth with people that I don't even know. We having real life conversations. And I think I ended the tweet with something like, "You're not alone. I'm here with you."
I remember.
And that was my biggest thing. If anybody ever needed to reach out, and that prolonged for a week, 2 weeks. I'm having conversations. I'm checking in with people that I don't even know just on Instagram.
Right.
So, and like I said, the biggest thing for me was the pushback. The feedback which is I'm so happy it came out.
Yeah.
Say you deal with mental health and all that. So.
Yeah. So I remember reading those tweets, and obviously we've been close for a long time, but that was something we never really had talked about until I even saw you tweet it. And I don't know, even reading it, I was I felt okay, here's someone now that I can talk to about what was going on, because it's tough. It's tough, like you said, to even be able to, one, identify it, because, as athletes, we're so conditioned, I'm invincible.
As men, though.
Right.
Before, as men.
Yeah, as men, yeah.
So, especially where we come from, being a black man, that's not it where we come from. You looked at as being a little girl, you being sensitive.
Right, yeah.
But in reality, bro, that's
real
damage.
Stuff.
That's years of damage of you keeping everything inside. You keeping everything in your mind. I can't show no emotion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get picked on. I'm gonna have to fight.
Right, yeah.
So and that's just years of and luckily for me and you too, we've seen the other side of our community. We grew up in that type of community, but we've seen the other side. We've seen reality. Really, what we grew up in, bro, that's not reality. That's reality for a lot of people. But it's not real life, bro. Yep. You growing up Section 8, you get evicted. That's not real life, bro. Right. We've seen the other side. God, you feel me? Yeah, bless us to have to be able to see that side of life. But it's like I said, as black men especially, I know men for sure, but as black men, that's a different level that we're talking about. Bro. We deal with, we just conditioned to keep that inside. Man. In reality, that's not it.
So I want to go back a little bit. So during your trying to figure out the issues with your heart and just all that stuff, you're trying to figure out if you have anxiety. You said that, the only people that know are your family and then people that are there with you in Chicago. Talk to me more about just the support your family has given you. It's like, I really want you to hear you speak on that.
Yeah. You know me, bro. I don't really, I hang out with the same 4 or 5 people every day. I don't talk to a lot of people, so I'm big on feeling like I keep stay to myself, try to stay out the way as much as I can. But my family is, that's who I talk to about everything. And at that time, it took me a minute to come out to my family and tell them that I was having anxiety, having depression, because in my mind, once again, being a black man, we got to be the man in the house, whatever the case may be. Yeah. If I tell my mom, I'm hours away, she's going crazy.
Freak out. Yep.
She's going to go crazy, not knowing where her baby boy at, what's wrong with him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and I'm already, if I have a bad game, I know she going to. But if she find out I'm in it's going to get bad. So I didn't tell nobody for real besides my brother. I told my brother. And that's how eventually then when I made that tweet, I started having a conversation with them. And come to find out, my mom was I dealt with anxiety too. And I would have never knew that if I didn't have that conversation. So they definitely was support. They supported everything I do. But this case in particular, they were the first people I told. My dad found out when he seen that tweet. So we had a conversation. He helped me major, and that's really I wasn't expecting. I dealt with it. I look at my dad he from training, he's been through all that. So I would never thought he would. I've been through that. I know friends, I know personally. So we had a conversation about it. It was heavy in that.
I think it's cool, especially you're able to have those types of conversations with specifically your parents.
Yeah.
Simply because when we're growing up, we're always thinking, those are my parents.
Yes.
Those are my parents. They're invincible. They have all the answers. They know what to do. X, Y, Z, this, and third. But when you're actually able to communicate and they actually are able to tell you, hey, I've dealt with this too.
Yeah.
And you're able to now, even us as young 20-year-olds, you start seeing your parents as people. And there's a lot of growth in that where it's all right, I now it's almost like you want to learn even more now because it's wow, you dealt with that too. You've been in this situation too. And you would have never known it just because, at the time we young in high school thinking we everything, but they're just our parents. So it's very interesting to hear you experience that with your family. Because I always know your pops at every game.
Yeah.
Same thing with your brother, your moms, and everything. I know your family's very supportive. Yeah. So that's really dope to hear that. Last question. So you go through from Delaware, Paul.
Yeah.
Go to Paul. Go through this wrist injury. Go through your mental health stuff. You go through, I'll even say coronavirus. Obviously, Germany gets cut short. You're signed now. What's next for Elijah Cain? Where are you at with things mentally? What is another goal you have set for yourself? Whether it be personal, whether it be basketball life, or Khloe Noelle. What's next for Elijah Cain?
Yeah. Put it in a few words for this first sentence or whatever. I think I'm gonna just be an example of not giving up. I had plenty of time where I couldn't. It got bad, bro. The mental stuff got bad at points. It got to a point where I didn't want to play back. I remember asking my trainer. I said, bro, if I sit out this year, people look at me differently. Me and him was kind of you think I. And in my mind, I was just going to blame it on my injury. I didn't want to play no more. I'm blaming on my injury. I got to be out for this long. So I think I'm just being an example of not giving up. Bro. I got to tell him to put one foot in front of the other. Keep on going, bro. Kobe said that. So that's right. I think that's my biggest thing. Through all aspects, though, I think I'm at a point in my life where we can have these conversations. I can have these conversations, be open about this, stuff I went through, stuff from other people that went through. And just like I said, if I found myself, I feel so just being this new, I ain't gonna say this new version, but just this recreated version of me, going through every phase of life, whether it's basketball, polo, being a person in life, being a man in America.
got one question.
We can do this all day.
How do you? No, facts. We really could. So how do you manage the brand, basketball, and personal life? That's the last. Because like you said, you dealt with, or you started Khloe Noelle when you kind of didn't have basketball. You rehabbed that, right? When you had basketball, you didn't have Khloe Noelle. Personal life is always there. So now that you have all three, how do you manage that? Because I can imagine that's a lot.
Bro, I'm sure both of them heard this before. When you go to college, we all play sports. Either your parents, your teacher, or your coach then told you got three out. You got your personal life, you got sports, you got books. Right. Something got to go. We've all got that speech. Something got to go.
Yeah.
As athletes, I'm speak for me personally. Books had to go.
Books went. Books went.
Books had to go. So we got the personal life and we got basketball.
Right.
Boom. Right now, like you said, it's going on. Basketball, personal life. It's that simple. I don't go out. I hang with my people. I stay out of the way. But I wasn't always like this. You know how I was in school. So it's a
lot of alleged activity.
Yeah. You feel me? So. And right now, I got so much motivation. I got so much fire. I got so much. I'm going to prove all of y'all wrong. It's easy for me to cut out the person. It's just this or it's who.
Yeah.
So, and that's when my day goes. I'll work out. When I'm done working out, I'm on the computer, I'm on the phone, I'm hitting, seeing what's up with the brand, see if this got done, see what's next. What are my next work? After that, it's the same thing every single day. I think it's a circle that I got. My main, my inner circle, people I see every day interact, and look what you doing, bro. It's heavy. We know where we come from, bro. It's not a lot of people doing it. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of people that went this way. You see what you doing. So it's a lot of people that I conduct myself around, I interact with. And if you look at the people I see every day, bro, we all come from the same background. One of my best friends, Miles, probably be NBA player.
Shout out to Miles Powell.
One of my other best homies, Dennis, he's about to go overseas, professional basketball player.
Shout out Dennis.
My brother Kennedy is a doctor. He's a doctor. Where we come from? He's a doctor.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. My other homie, Ali, the most grounded person I've ever met. I go to him for advice on anything. He got a couple of businesses that he really motivated me to do this. Mm-hmm. So the people that I hang around, I know we all heard this. Biggest company you keep. It's kind of easy, bro. It's easy to stay on the right path because I'm at a point I already was kind of a closed off person. I don't really get involved with a lot of people, but I'm at a point in my life now where it's if you're not feeding something, you're not giving me that positivity, bro. I don't got nothing for you. I don't have nothing for you. So it's a fact. It's really just it's really just basketball and
that's what it made me think of. What you said, it made me think of a quote I heard. I forget who said it, but they said, "Show me your routine and your friends, and I'll tell you your future."
Yeah, and that's real. And I didn't understand that though, because you know how college went. I didn't understand that in college. Yeah, I'm doing this on the floor, but off the court, I'm not saying I was wild off the court. We don't care. I ain't say all that, but
alleged activity.
I didn't. I was a college student. I was 17, 18. I just had stuff to learn. I had to grow. But now I'm 23 sitting here looking back okay, I went through that now. I learned from it. So that quote was real. It was really real.
This was great. This was great.
We can do it again now.
Oh, no. Look, I fully expect within, a couple years or so, we're going to link back up because I'm certain your clothing line going to grow and you're going to be bigger than you already are in terms of your basketball career and stuff. So this is really cool. But that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dreamer Talks. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right? Y'all be good.